Howdy ho, you handsome hunk. Grab a snack and gain some chunk. If your day is great or really sunk, we hope to help you shake the funk. So if you're good to hear some junk, buckle up, it's the Junk Monk Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Junk Monk Podcast. I'm your host Kandyce Sloan, who you know from Instagram at Hardens and Hard Hats.
And I'm Noah, your co-host, you know from Right Now.
If this is your first time listening, let us fill you in. We are watching and reviewing every episode of the USA hit TV show Monk right here each week.
And we are going to do so while eating a little bit of junk. So I've got my junk food here, which is actually some Apple Jacks. But the mini box of cereal.
Yeah, the little mini
that
you get like at school lunches.
Yeah, they're very cute.
And you're like, how does one person only eat that many? And then you realize like it is a lot.
It is.
I have brownie thins, right? Still paleo, grain-free, all that stuff. But it literally says paleo friendly right on the package. Impressive, right?
Wow.
And these are brownie thins that are salted caramel flavors. So we're going to dig into these during junk time. Also, you must know, I've seen every episode of Monk. I'm a huge fan, started watching in 2007, and for the most part, watched it as it aired.
I've seen seasons 1 and 3, too.
We're working on season 3 right now, guys.
We're working very hard.
We're trying to get Noah to have watched the series by the time we're done with the series.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes the most logical sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you've seen seasons 1, 2, and the ones we've done on the show.
Yeah.
And then basically just season 3 left. So, if you're ready to start the show, Toby, take it away.
Here's what happened.
Okay, this is Mr. Monk and Sharona, Season 8, Episode 10. Here's what happened. In the opening scene, we see Adrian vacuuming his apartment when the bag suddenly busts, spraying dirt all over him. At the same time, someone is knocking at the door, with Monk assuming it's Natalie. He calls for help. We then see that it's none other than Adrian's former assistant, Sharona Fleming, at his side, helping with the cleanup. Monk is confused and surprised, but after catching up, she explains the reason for her visit. Her uncle Howard had recently died due to a fatal fall at a local country club. She was there to meet with her lawyers about a settlement. Natalie, pleased to meet her as well, agrees they all go eat lunch after the meeting with the lawyer. However, Adrian drops some bad news on Sharona when he discovers her uncle's accident may not be an accident after all. Reluctantly, Monk and his 2 assistants head to the golf course where they question golfer Perry Walsh and his caddy. They were the 2 that witnessed Howard's death. They claim what they saw was indeed an accident, but Monk has his doubts. Of course, he is right and discovers that Howie was a professional con man when they see some staged cushions in his apartment where he practiced falling. When they go back to question Peter Walsh at his apartment, Monk notices that a book is missing from his shelf, and that very book was in Howie's apartment. It turns out that Howard had been having an affair with Peter Walsh's wife, in which Peter found out about. He then convinced Howie to pull a con at the country club and offered to be his witness when he sued. However, Walsh took the opportunity to get his revenge and murder him instead. The assistants apprehend the guy, the case is solved, and Monk must once again say goodbye to Sharona in the end.
Aww.
And Sharona and Randy get into a car and never come back. What did you like about this episode, Kandyce?
What year is it? Sharona is back, baby. Oh my gosh, and it feels so good. The whole entire first scene was, I would say a little plot holy, but a very cute and clever way to bring Sharona Fleming back. I thought it was golden because they basically set her up immediately to be his assistant again. Like, they could have done it just any other way. I don't know, Natalie answers the door or something, and it's like, oh, hi, who are you? Sharona? The Sharona? Oh my God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, Mr. Monk, look who it is. And then he'd be like, what year is it? You know what I mean? But they literally set him up to be the first one to see her. And then, boom, Adrian, wash your eyes out. Here's a wipe. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I loved it. Yeah, it starts with the monk in distress. And it's a lot like Natalie intro where she's cleaning the fire.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. And we just talked about that.
Yeah.
You are so right.
Where she's spraying the fire down with the fire extinguisher, and Sharona comes in to swoop and save Monk, just like Natalie did.
I wonder if that is when they talked about Code Red.
Yeah.
So, we see whenever there's a fire in the trash can, that's a code red, you know. And she's like, code red? I don't know what that means. Like, come on, Natalie, we talked about this. That's so funny. Okay, so that whole scene is in the, like, before the credits happen, right? Then after the open, this is when she's like, they're talking for a little bit, and she's like, oh, you have some schmutz on your face. And he's like, oh, and she's like, here, I'll get it. And whips the wipe out, and he grabs it, and he goes, hey, you still got it. And she says, yep, it's like riding a bike. A really weird, very sad, very awkward bike.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have anything about that scene? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Monk literally can't believe his eyes. He has to wash his eyes out again.
Yeah.
And then I felt so much nostalgia, and I didn't even watch it a long time ago. It was just like, I was like, oh my god, like the good old days. And I was like, wait a minute, I watched a Sharona episode yesterday.
Yeah.
It was so good at that.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I loved it. It was a beautiful
that is a very good point, and I'm glad that you felt that because, you know, as you know, I did start watching it. I didn't start watching it when Sharona was the assistant, but I've been watching those episodes since that time on reruns. So to know that someone that's a new viewer who didn't even, because as you guys know, we kind of skipped around, you didn't even immerse yourself in the whole Sharona era to where, like, normal people who are watching it, like, say they find it on Amazon, they do that. They go through in order. They don't know Sharona's going to leave. Why would they know that? Right? And it sneaks up on them. And then they're like, what the heck? This new girl's stupid. Natalie, I hate her, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, you get to know and love Natalie. But that's my point is, like, you didn't even do that.
I just started off with Natalie.
Yeah. You just start off with Natalie, and have been watching it for a very long time. But you still felt that nostalgia, which means that they did an excellent job of making you feel that way.
Exactly.
Yes. And then what's hilarious is, so he's like, you know, you still got it. And they kind of bond over it or whatever. And then Natalie walks in and she's like, oh, hi, I'm Sharona. And she's like, wait, the Sharona? And she's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity. And they're like, hug, and it's so cute. And then Monk is like, oh, wait, no, she didn't give me this wipe. I got this wipe myself. Like, it's not what it looks like. And she's like, Mr. Monk, she can hand you a wipe. And he's like, yeah, no. And then they say something silly about him. And he's like, uh-oh, trouble ahead. It's so funny. I love how they bond right off the bat. But I especially love is Monk is acting like Sharona is another woman. And it is so funny. It's not what you think. And she's like, I don't care. It's really funny.
Yes. I like how they did butt heads in the middle where they were like, why would you, like, Natalie blames, you know, the guy figuring it out that they knew about the murder, right? She blames it on Sharona and their butting heads and whatnot. I'm glad they didn't do that right off the bat. And I'm glad they were friends and they got to do, you know, they were like, because she was like, oh, I can't believe I lived on $150. $950 a week or something. And Natalie's like, oh yeah. And Monk, you paid her $20 more? I would have been upset.
Yeah. Natalie doesn't play it off, though. Sharona just walks off.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't believe I survived on $950 a week. And Sharona leaves, and Natalie turns around and just gives him the death glare, and he's like, ah.
And he's like, she had a kid. And he's like, I have a kid. He ate a lot.
Her kid ate more. Yes. And, okay, I love that you said that. I'll go ahead. I put a little asterisk because this is one of my overarching themes is that I absolutely love that they made them argue over a period of time, and they made them argue eventually over their differences and not right off the bat. Because they, again, just a different scenario, they could have totally like, oh, you're that Sharona. Oh, hi. You know, and made Natalie feel instantly like awkward and possessive. Of Monk. And then Sharona could have maybe felt that, right? Because Sharona kind of does say it at the end, like, well, I can tell he likes she's me jealous. Better, he likes me better. I can just tell, you know. So it's kind of like what they kind of eventually kind of said what they were thinking. But at first they were doing their best. They were getting along. They were chummy. And they let them be friendly and not make them be catty to each other at the beginning. I thought it's very clever. They could have done that backwards and it still would have been great nostalgia, but it would have been a very, I don't know, unfeminist thing to do, I guess, you know? Make them fighting over the man.
Yeah.
They got there eventually just because of their differences, but not just because they were two women or something. So that was one of my overarching things.
I loved it. Yeah.
I also have the part where this is where they go to Sharona's meeting for the settlement, and the lawyer is like, you know what? I don't want to hear it. Anything you guys offer is just going to be a slap in the face. This is ridiculous.
It's disrespectful. I can't believe you would even do this.
And then they were like, this is what we're prepared to offer. And they slide it across the table, and Sharona looks at the paper, and she's like, holy Jesus Palomino. And she gives it to her lawyer, and he's like, look, his face is like,
He nods.
yep. Mm-hmm. And she's like, we accept? No backsies. It was so cute. And then Sharona got a scene by herself.
Yeah.
How classic is that?
I know.
Why did Sharona get a scene by herself?
Natalie never gets scenes by herself.
Is
Natalie
that
love.
true?
Natalie love and affection.
that can't be true.
Not never ever, but like
Oh, with
in
her
general.
man, she did.
with her.
That's-
With her many
with
men.
her captain man.
Sharona calls Monk Adrian, and Natalie's like, "What did she say? Ooh, I like that." I forgot how it comes up, but
No, she go. I think this. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, the scene just starts and they're on the golf course, and Sharona says, "So you really call him Mr. Monk?"
yeah, and they're just like, and she tries it. Natalie tries calling him Adrian. They're like, I don't like it. Like, which is we've talked about that.
Yeah. Well, she's and then she says, "Adrian, why don't you let her call you Adrian?" And he's like, "She can call me whatever she wants."
Uh-huh.
And Natalie's like, "Okay, Adrian." I'm like, yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, me neither.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a mutual respect. I like it.
exactly, and it. Yeah, we have talked about this in the past, right? We had to have. Oh yeah, on
Yes,
the
we-
Natalie
yeah.
Sharona episode. We haven't even acknowledged that. We had that whole episode. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's really good.
It's amazing.
It's Sharona versus Natalie. Go check it out. But yeah, so they talk about the difference between that. Like they acknowledge it. It's just one of those things that's kind of building up where it's like we've all been thinking it and they're saying it, and I love it. Also, another little instance would be when they're still at the golf course and they're walking, and Sharona's like, the car's this way, Adrian, going the wrong way. And he's like, no, we have to go talk to this guy. And she's like, and he walks through the sprinkler and he's like, oh God, wipe.
Oh yes.
And Sharona says, stop crying, it's only water, shake it off. And Natalie's like, yeah, shake it off. And then she pulls out some wipes and she's like, don't tell her I did this for you.
She's trying to act cool.
She was trying to act cool, and she was trying to act tough
She's trying to fit in.
in front of Sharona. But then she does stand by her scruples whenever they go to the steps. That's where they're going. Adrian's
Yeah.
going to the steps, and he's like, yeah, this step is loose. And he's like, hey, could you lay on the ground there? And Sharona's like, no. And he's like, Natalie? She's like, no. Like, that was a little bit easier to not completely like go back on your, because Sharona's standing right there. But and she can see you laying on the ground. But that's funny because I honestly don't remember. Have we ever actually seen a time where Natalie acts like the victim?
What do you mean?
Have we ever seen her like laying on the ground?
Probably, I think so. It felt familiar.
See, I feel
I feel like that's been a joke, and maybe she didn't do it. Like, she didn't actually get on the floor, but he said something like that. Because it felt like it happened before.
Yeah, I'm only remembering like the up you go, but that wasn't a crime. But he's done it with Sharona. I remember. I feel like in the Redheaded Stranger with Willie Nelson,
Yeah.
Sharona, he like shoots her in the alley with a dart.
Yes.
So like I remember Sharona doing those things, but I don't remember Natalie doing that. So it's interesting that they kind of it's almost a little plot holy. Like, they made a recall that never happened. Yeah. Unless I'm wrong. Someone feel free to point me out a time where Natalie does, like, lay down like she's the victim or something. I just can't remember. Okay, the next thing I have is, this is a very small thing, but really cute, I thought, is when they're at the apartment and they're looking and Monk finds a clue. And he's like, oh, I found something. And they both at the same time are like, what? What is it? At the same exact time. And it's like, again, Sharona has still got it. Like, she's still got it. And then Monk is like, Natalie's like, let me see. And she's like, it was my uncle. Let me see. And she's like, I'm the assistant or something. Let me see it. And Monk's like, okay, how about I just hold it up so everyone can see? I hate this case. Stop calling it a case.
Monk has to bring this guy to justice. That's my next He Sharona's like, drop it, Monk, let it go. But no, Monk sticks to his guns, and he's like, something's weird going on, and he's not really like, you know what? No, I'm gonna get this guy. He's just like, no. He's very calm about it.
Yeah, and it wasn't, we've talked about this before, like the greater good, where I kind of complained about him going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
The playoffs where he's like, well, he just doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to go to the football game.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with the case. But in this case, like, it's not like he doesn't want Sharona to, like, have money.
Exactly.
He's just trying to put a murderer away. So, I get what you're saying there. We have a little Sharona scheme. Do you remember the Sharona scheme? It's very small. It's very quick.
The golf cart?
It's something she says it's self-taught.
Oh, Sharona scheme. Her bobby pin.
Yeah.
Lock picking.
That was it. He's like, oh, it's locked. And she's like, I'm like, how did you learn that? Self-taught.
Yeah.
Boom. I was like, oh, Sharona got him with the
And she also got him with the credit card to get in. She was like, what did she say? I forgot the exact word she uses. But, like, not working credit cards still are useful.
What?
Because, like, to get into the door, she, like, slides the credit card
I missed that twice. I'm not even
Twice?
joking. Yes. I did not see that. I know what you mean because I know how you do it.
Yeah,
You stick the latch in there. But what? I completely missed that twice. No way.
What? No, because it's like her little, I don't know, it's like her little heist.
Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up. It'll take 2 seconds.
Cancel call can come in handy sometimes.
Oh, dang. Oh, my gosh.
It's her little heist.
How did I mix up? If you're going to look something up, if you've got the episode up, can you pull up the, hey, you still got it?
Yeah.
That's Monk's, like, almost flirty voice. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Oh.
You saw some schmutz over there. Right there. Right there. Hold on.
Hey. You still got it.
It's like riding a bike.
Man.
Hey, very clean. Very unusual. Very sad bike.
Is it off?
Yeah.
Hey.
Is it off? Is it off? Is it off?
You still got it. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I love that line. Floored me. Okay, so my last couple of things are some big ones. Okay, so I feel like I kind of hinted at this already, but there are 2 moments in the show, in this episode, where they're saying exactly what we're all thinking and exactly what we've been thinking for the past, like, 4 seasons since Sharona left.
Okay.
And the first one is the elevator scene. This is where because they're already butting heads, right?
Yes.
But then they take this one instance of the elevator and they start butting heads where Natalie tries to pull him to the stairs and Sharona pulls him to the elevator. And they're, well, I don't put Mr. Monk in situations where he feels uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
well, it's good for him to get out of his comfort zone. Well, I'm not his nurse. I'm his assistant. Well, maybe you should do a little bit more assisting and stop pandering to him. I'm not pandering to him. Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're too hard on him. Like, and
Yeah.
it's like literally they just have this amazing back and forth dialogue of what we're all thinking, like what our whole, Sharona Natalie episode was about in this one scene.
Yeah.
And I also think it's a humorous scene too, because right, Monk is like, what does he say? Why don't we ride up the elevator 18 flights and then walk down 9 or something like that? Yeah. So that way we're all miserable. And so I don't know. I thought that was a really good scene that showed exactly what we were thinking. And then the last scene or the second scene would be when they're having the heart to heart, right? When they lose Adrian. That scene starts off with, well, he can't be too far. He's got to come back because he needs his toothbrush and his pillow and his flossing kit and his sound machine that has the foghorn. And Natalie's like, oh, yeah, no, the foghorn broke. And she's like, oh, no, it did. What'd you do? And Natalie's like ashamed. And she's like, I recorded myself making foghorn noises and put it on the machine. And it totally
She bought a foghorn.
Oh, yes. I have
a foghorn sitting in my garage.
Yes, I have a foghorn. Exactly, right? So that breaks the tension because right, they're just having a normal conversation. And then
Yeah.
it breaks the tension, and then they laugh, and then they get into this heart-to-heart. I know I was, like, getting onto you for pandering to him, but you're doing great with him.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you did all the hard work. You got him to where he is. And she's like, no, you're doing really well with him. And, Natalie has just a great line where she's like, you did this. You got him to me. And again, it's exactly what we all say all the time. Like, and I'm not saying that necessarily it's like for Team Sharona or anything, because obviously whatever, but it is saying what we're thinking, like, well, he needed a different style by the time he got to Natalie.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you needed a nurse, he needed an assistant. So Natalie's doing a great job doing what she was doing, and obviously Sharona did a great job doing what she did. And again, they said it out loud, and they said it to each other, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Which really makes you, like, appreciate the fact that they're different and not, both Sharona's or both Natalie's. Because then it'd just be lame. And there's no, like, actual dilemma.
Yeah.
But this is actually, like, is nursing or assisting him better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just more interesting to see both sides, and which is why it's so good. It's why both of them are so good.
Yeah, well, it's good for character development because it makes you realize that Adrian has grown since Sharona, and then it also gives you something to talk about.
Yeah.
And then it also gives you this sense of, like you said, something different, whereas opposed to, like, when people replace main characters,
Exactly.
they try to give them similar characteristics so that it feels more seamless of a transition. Like, oh, that's what she used to do. Oh, that's what she used to do. Okay, this makes sense. Oh, okay. Of course, they did that at the beginning, and then Natalie slowly morphs into her own character. So,
Yeah.
it's amazing. What else do you have for likes? I think I have
one.
I have two more.
Oh, I have two more as well.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to report an officer.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Sharona's like, I'd like to report an officer, and Sotomayor's like, what'd he do? While, like, looking down.
Yeah, when he's in his office, yeah.
And then she's like, he hasn't written or texted me in the last 5 years. And he's like, oh my gosh. And there was this beautiful thing. And then Randy comes in, and they're all in love.
Well, yeah.
It was close enough.
I have to point out you butchered the line just a little bit, but you said he hasn't written or texted. You mixed some old and new technology together.
Oh, God.
You said written and texted, and like, it's written or called.
Oh my gosh.
No, but I just had to, because I go,
Dang it.
people didn't really text that much back then. They did, but it was definitely more of the point where she said written. Like, you haven't written me. Like,
Yeah.
people were writing. But anyway, so yeah. But yes, that is so cute. And her face, like, lights up. When
Yeah.
he looks up, he's like, what? And her face just lights up. He's like, hi, come here. And then, oh man. That's my second to last thing, which is when Randy and Sharona reunite. But the captain's was fantastic. It was really cute too. But I did like this scene. I feel like I know what you're probably going to say in dislikes, but in this particular scene, I think it was really good because they meet and she's like, hi, Randy. And he's like, wow, Sharona, you look amazing. And she's like, thanks. And she's like, you do too. And he's like, and she's like, what? He's like, well, I mean, you always used to hit me with a zinger. And she's like, oh my God, I did that. Was I awful? And he's like, no, you weren't awful. You were great. Yeah. And then she's like, yeah, did I say you look great already? You look great. And then they give each other a hug, and then Natalie walks in, and and this is so funny because I'm thinking and I go, well, I could see how you didn't think that, Natalie would end up with Randy, because Natalie's like, Randy, do you have that file for me? And he's like, oh no, I wasn't able to get it. And she's like, isn't that it in your hand? And he's like, oh yeah, here it is. I was like, oh dang, he's so smitten with Sharona. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So yeah, that any instance of thinking him and Natalie were a couple was like, I know. In that very moment, you're like,
I still think they would work better.
It is officially the end of Rattly action.
Officially.
Oh my gosh, that is sad.
The death of Rattly.
That is actually really sad now that I said it out loud. Wow.
Yeah. Because, He turned her down.
Yeah. Dang. He goes, what? Oh, no, I wasn't able to get it. That's in your hand. Oh, yeah, here it is. Dang, major diss. Okay, my last one. Do you have one more? Mm-hmm. Okay, what's your last one? It may be the same. I don't know.
My last one is Monk's high-pitched cough.
Oh,
as he's trying to play off him wanting water, he's like...
Oh, yeah. I remember talking about. They're in the
murderer's house. Mm-hmm. And Monk figures it out, so he wants to, like, tell them.
Oh, because at first he asks him if he wants something to drink, and he says no.
Yes, and so he has to play it off as if he suddenly is very parched. And so his fake coughs are amazing. They're like...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And they're like little girl coughs.
Yeah, and they're like little girl coughs. Like, actually, I do need something to drink. And then Sharona's like, tell me what happened. And he's like, no, I can't. And the guy's like, do you want orange juice? And he's like, yeah, fresh squeeze would be best. So they have more time. That's clever. That's really clever. That's good. Okay, my very last thing is, and I'm sure, I know I'm missing stuff. I just trying to keep it more concise than I haven't already. And that is the hug at the end. I cried like a little baby. Don't say you dislike about it right now. Don't ruin my moment. I cried like a little bit. I watched it the first time with Noah, and we didn't take notes at all. This is actually the first time I ever have watched an episode and not taken notes the first time. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that I did. I was able to bust out the notes pretty fast on the second time. I was surprised, but man, I was like, it was also mixed in with like, I know that this means it's the end for our show and the end for Monk and the Sharona goodbye that we never got to see before. And it also just makes me go, wow, what if they had shown us Sharona's goodbye the first time? I don't think I could handle that one, you know? Like this was, I was tearing up. I was crying at a 4 years later goodbye. I can't imagine in the moment if she's like, Adrian, I have to go. Oh. Yeah. I'm crying thinking about it. No, I'm making it up in my head and then starting to cry.
We need to be writers.
So yes, it's just another moment, like I said, that we've always wanted. And we got to have it. Yeah. So, that's all I'll say before I start tearing up more about it. Okay, now, Noah, what did we dislike? Anything that I said so far that you have disliked? The cops? You liked the cops.
No, I'm just saying. Shandy, Sharona and Randy.
Oh, Shandy.
Okay, because... What was the other one? It was either Shandy or Rarona.
No, I think it's Shandy.
Yeah, Shandy rolls off the tongue. So, I think Shandy's forced. It was
okay.
They didn't have to do this. Why did they do me like this? I didn't like it. I would have preferred Rattly. It's not even okay, it is that.
Explain. Go ahead.
I would have preferred Rattly. But also, like, they didn't do... If they were, like, actually liked each other before, and... Because before, Sharona thought Randy was, like, a creep. Or that's at least what I thought. And so, I don't know. It just felt forced, and, like, Natalie and Randy, you know, I think get along more than Randy and Sharona did in previous seasons. I don't know. I just... Feels forced. I didn't really like the scenes that they were in. Upon the second rewatch of this episode, it didn't feel that bad. But the first one, I was definitely like, oh no, this is bad. But the second time, it was like, oh.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. I will disagree with you on the first scene. I think they played the first scene really well.
Yeah, that's
where they reunite for the first time. And then I feel like where the forcedness comes in is whenever they have that scene where...
Argument. I was going to say the argument whenever Randy's like, oh, but her uncle is dead. And she has the right to ask questions. I thought that was forced.
Oh, no. Because I believe that's after That's after the scene I'm about to say where Sharona specifically goes to see Randy, like at the headquarters, and then goes and talks to him. And she's like, remember that one case? Like, Monk could be wrong, but he's never wrong. Remember that one case? And Randy's like, yeah, he wasn't wrong then either, though. Remember? It was his twin or whatever. Yeah. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're right. And then he's like, what's wrong with you and Natalie? And she's like, she's jealous, blah, blah, blah. So that whole scene, and then they get on the elevator, and he's like, how do you know? And she's like, a girl knows when a guy likes her. And he's like, oh, they do? And she's like, yeah, of course. And they like look at each other and the door's shut. That moment was good, but the whole lead up to that moment wasn't. It was really forced that they made them be together like that. In that,
Randy, you know, me and you were such good buddy pals back in the day, and we always confided in each other. No, not really.
I will say that you haven't seen probably the most intimate moment that they've had.
What episode is that?
Mr. Monk meets the Godfather.
Ah.
Yeah. So you haven't seen I would say though, I know like it's not the best like defense that one time, but still there is a time where you see that.
Yeah.
And if you infer that there's other moments like the ski lodge incident, like then you would infer that they've had other talks like that or whatever. But and I will disagree too about them never like having chemistry or whatever. They do have a lot more. Especially if you watch it in order, you'll see the flirt is a lot stronger than anything that they've ever purposely planted with Natalie. Mm-hmm. Because again, like as we've talked to the writers and, you know, the actors, like they sounded so fancy when I said that.
As you know.
as you guys know, if you don't, go check it out. Hi Conrad, Jace, Chris, everyone. No, but seriously, like that didn't even like cross their mind that they would end up together. And like, whereas if Sharona had been on the whole entire run, you would have gotten those vibes 5,000% by the end that they were supposed to be together. Whereas the Radley action was very few and far between. Honestly, I feel like we're getting more Monk and Natalie than Radley.
I know. Now it just makes me sad. I really want Monk and Natalie, guys.
Okay, well.
I really, really want it.
Okay, well, that's shit. Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me.
But yeah, so I would have to say that their pairing is stronger. And then also, I think Hi Conrad talked about this, but how like Natalie's almost like not too good for Randy, but she's just kind of too smart, I guess, for Randy. And we know that Natalie can find a really good, nice guy or like a good man by herself, where Sharona has had a really bad time with men. And so it's a good conclusion.
We know Randy and it was more beneficial to give Sharona Randy than Natalie Randy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay,
because Sharona needs a man and Natalie don't need no man, and that is why Natalie's better.
Okay, I'll concede to that part. Okay, my first one is if we're on dislikes in case you forgot. My first
that was my first dislike. That was like 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll go fast. Okay, so my first one is the way that Adrian isn't excited to see Sharona. He keeps going on about this laundry ticket.
I thought it was hilarious.
No, it is funny. It is very funny, but on, again, like the, fourth maybe rewatch of this episode, it's like, it is the first time that they're reacquainting, and he's being obsessive compulsive about this ticket. And no, I agree. It is very funny. It's a very funny thing. But the way she's like looking in her purse and kind of appeasing him like she used to was still very reminiscent, and I still loved it. But it is kind of sad that that's like their first catching up, and he's like, yeah, but I've had a question I've been wanting to ask you for the past 4 years. Instead of like, why did you leave? Or, you know, not that I wanted that, just saying like, that silly of a question, you're like, oh, okay, I guess this reunion doesn't mean as much to Monk as it does to Sharona. Or even Natalie. Natalie's like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting a celebrity. And Monk's like, but this laundry ticket.
I like it because that's not Monk. Monk isn't, oh my god, Sharona. It's like, oh hey Sharona. So remember 5 years ago whenever you took my stuff to the laundromat and you never gave it back? Yeah. So do you know where that is? Like, that is so Monk.
That is true.
I love it. I loved it.
That's true. I've been debunked in my dislike. Okay, I'll lump this next one in because it's very close. The nursing joke. I thought that was just super random, and I don't like when Monk says it, but I love Sharona's reaction. no, I'm working as a nurse.
He's like,
That's
isn't he like 17?
She's like, I'm nursing again. And it's like, isn't Benji like 17? She's like, no, I'm working as a nurse.
When I rewatched it, I was eating, and I like with my family with my AirPods in, and I just like laughed, and I was like, "What?" It was that was like the one thing that made me laugh.
Oh my god! And I'm like, my dislike is that nursing note.
Isn't Benji like 17?
I just thought it was a weird joke, and it was super random. And
yeah, it was a little uncomfy, but the second time it got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Upon rewatching, it's funny, but when you realize, again, that's the first time they met, you're like, you're making a joke about her breastfeeding her 17-year-old child. What? How random is this? I didn't like that. So, okay. What dislikes do you have?
I only have a few.
Okay.
I think I have 3 more. Sharona's uncle was murdered, and then, because, I mean, couldn't they have just done, something different? It didn't have to be. Everything's always so coincidental.
Okay.
And I didn't like how it was, oh my god, Sharona's uncle, and it's tied into Sharona, too. I think it could have been, like, a random case. I think I would have liked that more.
That's interesting, and I feel like a lot of people are going to feel like you do. However, I loved this case, and I thought it was a very clever way to bring Sharona back. I can't even think of how they would bring her back to San Francisco or have the need to bring her back without doing something like that. I know there's other ways. Obviously, there's an infinite amount of ways you can do things.
Like my friend asked me to come. She's moving upstate, too.
Yeah,
I needed to help her.
Right, but without something tragic happening. But what's good about that is because it gives Sharona a reason to tag along with him the entire time.
Yeah.
If it was a random case, Sharona would have been inappropriately tagging along with him. It would have made Sharona seem like clingy or naggy or something. Or you know what I mean? Like if had been... I can't even think of something. But you know what I mean? Where Natalie's like, well, I can be here because I'm his assistant. You can be here because it's your uncle. And we're kind of like on even playing fields here. Whereas if it was a random case, Sharona wouldn't have a reason to do that.
Yeah.
I personally also love the stairs thing. I love that the con, he fell down the stairs. I love the cushions thing where they see him and he's like, oh, you practiced falling. I like that.
I like that too.
I also like at the end where they don't fix the stupid stair and then Sharona falls and she ends up, so they get to solve the case and she's like, Benji's going to college.
Yeah.
And she breaks her arm, whatever. I thought that was good. I don't
know about that one. I thought it was a little plot holy. Like, 2 members of the same family. After she realized she wasn't getting her money. I don't know. I thought that could be...
Well, yeah, but see, you know what I thought of that? Because I was like, well, Sharona could totally have just faked that, like no other. But they still hadn't fixed the stone.
Yeah.
They still didn't fix the stone, and so she fell on it. And then I'm sure that she went to the doctor, and that she probably broke her arm, and there was physical evidence of her breaking her arm. Yeah. So it's like, it was and she was like tired and out of breath after she just tackled a guy. I don't think she was thinking, let me fall down right now on the same step my uncle did. Like, that didn't happen. So there was a lot of, I get what you're saying, but I feel like there was enough, like, evidence to back up that it was their stupid fault for not fixing the dumb stairs. They just probably lost $1 million for whatever, you know what I mean? So, my next thing is that Monk can't not look at the board. Which you kind of said, I like how Monk stuck to his guns. And I'm like, yeah, but he could just not look at the board. Stop looking. Like, don't stop looking at the board. And she's like, no, Adrian, flip the board. Don't look. And he's like peeking behind it. And I'm like, stop looking at the board. And then Sharona, of course, don't make that face. Don't make that face. I know that face. I remember that face. I hate that face. So good. So good. Okay, also I have Monk again, in relating to the case, that he lies to Sharona, flat out lies to her and says, well, yeah, the stone was loose. Looks like an accident to me. And she's like, oh, great. I'm going to call Benji and tell him the good news. And lets her walk off and call him. And then he's like, Natalie, look, this is totally not an accident. And she's like, Mr. Monk, you have to tell Sharona. after she just went and told Benji he could go to any college he wanted to, why on earth did he let her do that?
Yeah.
And then he kept lying. He kept, I forget what other scene it was, but he lied to her again. Oh, when they're in the police station. And Sharona's like, Monk, you said that it was an accident. And Natalie kind of nudges him because she knows he's lying. And so he's like, well, maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure. But just to be totally sure, we should go check it again. Then we would be, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's lying to her again. So, okay, so I'll kind of lump these two together because one's a Natalie fault and one's a Sharona fault. Okay, so the first one, without getting on another huge tangent, was Natalie's quote, "Is this really all about the money for you?" And I'm like, oh, please, honey boo boo child, Natalie, please have a seat, girl. Because we had a whole episode where we talked about how a few episodes where we talked about how money hungry Natalie is and doesn't care about the case, doesn't care about Monk. Like, no, it doesn't matter. Don't do this. Don't, I need that money. And we diss her every time for it. And then now the shoe's on the other foot and Natalie's like, is this really all about the money, bro?
This is a two-way street.
It's a two-way street. Mr. Monk stuck in traffic. It's a two-way street.
Yeah, no. That was hypocritical.
And then my Sharona diss is that it was totally her fault that she made him say the summation in the apartment.
Yeah, that was
annoying.
Stupid to me.
And she was like, come on. And then they make him go into the closet and tell him in the closet. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. But, Sharona needs to know right this second. In what world is she right? And in what world is Randy backing her up right?
Yeah, obviously, but that's what I was saying. I think he had the scenes mixed up because by that point he was already infatuated with her.
Yeah.
And she knew that he liked her, and so she kind of liked him, kind of thing. So that's obviously why he was saying that, defending her.
Yeah.
But the point was that Sharona was at fault there, and he was defending her because he liked her.
Yeah.
Which we knew at that point already. So. But if that happened before that scene, then maybe it was like, why was Randy defending her that hard? But yeah.
And I think that probably would have worked better. Other than, hey, Randy, I really needed to talk to you right now. And it would have been like, hey, thanks for sticking up for me back there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Noah, we should write this show. Even though I couldn't come up with an idea 2 minutes ago. We should totally write this show.
But together, Kandyce.
Oh my gosh, that's true.
Together with the power of friendship.
Oh my gosh, what's your last dislike?
Okay, so I said my likes. Monk sticks to his guns and he doesn't give up. Mm-hmm. So one of my dislikes is Monk sticks to his guns and he doesn't give up. And okay, because in the like section, it's more of an ideals thing. He's like, oh, it's a principle. I can't change this. I mean, I gotta take down every bad dude. But also just watching it happen and knowing that Sharona is really broke and needs the money and it's just cringy.
Yes.
To watch.
Yeah.
And I mean, as much as it's oh yeah, brownie points for Monk, it's also don't do that. That's crazy. Yeah. That's a crazy moment.
There's been other, I feel like that's a recall to another episode. I feel like Sharona and Natalie are in that position all the time. Mm-hmm. Monk, quit focusing on that. No. This is for me. Do this for me. Do this for Julie. Do this for Benji. Do this for, mm-hmm. And quit focusing on this. Yeah. That was definitely a cringe moment because you're especially because Sharona ends up with the money anyways, we know, but how we always say well, Natalie of course can't win $1 million or else she'd be off the show and Monk would be off the show. But Sharona's already off the show, so we don't care if she gets rich. Yeah. For no reason. We want her to be happy, so just let her get the money and shut up.
Yeah.
So, my final dislike is Randy and Sharona's kiss at the end.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's an absolute oh snap, they're together, this just happened, and then that, but also we never got that actual moment. Like, that was obviously not their first kiss. That was their, who knows, second, third, fourth. That kiss was so, like, a natural, like, hi, honey, good to see you.
Yeah.
Like, not we just recently kissed for the first time. So, obviously, we've missed this big moment where they kiss for the first time.
Yeah, which kind of sucks, yeah.
That was not their first kiss, and that sucks.
That does suck. I didn't even think about that.
Like, what? This would be so trashy, and, like, I don't want this, but also kind of do. Like, they get on the elevator, and then the elevator comes down, and then when it opens, they're, like, in the middle of kissing or something, and then they're like,
God.
what?
That would
or
be
something.
trashy.
I'm just...
That would be so...
But
that is something the writers would do.
But that's why we both need to work on it. That was my solo idea.
We have to
bring me back down. And then,
yeah.
But I'm just saying something. I was trying to just use pieces from the episode that were already in there. We could add something extra. We could make this a fan supercut. Like,
yeah. Fan super cut director's edition. Writer's commentary.
But yeah, so the Randy Sharona moment that we never got. Rest in peace. Okay, you ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy.
I have someone.
You do?
One person.
Okay, maybe I could guess who you have.
Okay, guess.
Is it Karen?
It is Biddy Shram.
Oh my. Oh.
Okay. Believe it or not, she was actually in a Monk episode before.
A Monk episode? Which one? I'm so excited to hear what you have to say.
Seasons 1 through 4.
No, that's not
Half
right.
of season 4.
No, that's not right.
Half of season 5.
That's not right either.
4 episodes of season 5.
No, dude. What are you talking about? You're going the wrong way.
Or season 4. 4 episodes of season 4?
No, it's season 3. She leaves in season 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Natalie's first episode is season 3, episode 10.
What?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy?
What?
Isn't that crazy how Sharona is that big of a staple in the show and she was on there for 2.5 seasons? Is that not kind of crazy? It's kind of crazy. It's like she's the OG though, so it's like you
Holy
can't.
Holy crap! I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie's been on there for like 5, and she's been on there for 3. I thought it was always even. I thought it was even.
Oh no, we sailed past even. No,
Oh
remember?
gosh.
No, when we did our Sharona Natalie episode, that's why we did it then. Because we had as much Sharona as we had of Natalie.
Yeah.
And that was before, I think, we started season 5. Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. That is wild.
Oh
it's been a very long time. We've had
really
like 3 extra seasons of Natalie.
Anyways, Biddy Shram. She plays Sharona Fleming on Monk.
Okay.
And I watched the show Monk. Me and my sister have a podcast about it.
Shut up.
And
so
it's really dumb.
It's really dumb, and you should go listen to it.
You should go listen to it. You should subscribe. And leave me a voicemail.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Not gonna lie, I put Biddy Shram as well. But only because I wasn't going to. But when I looked up the IMDb, it said Tony Shalhoub, Traylor Howard, Ted Levine, Jason Gray Stanford, and Biddy Shram. And I was like, oh, that looks so good. That looks so good right there. Because I have not seen Biddy Shram's name on an IMDb in forever.
Yeah.
And it was with Traylor Howard's name. And I was like, wow. They were in the same episode.
The 2 girls.
It was pretty cool. So I had to do that. Oh, also, quickly, I wanted to show you. I probably can't play it on the pod because it'll have like copyright and it won't let me like put it on YouTube. But I'm going to show Noah the promo so go to IMDb and on the first pop-up screen it says trailer and it says play trailer with sound. So go ahead and click on it and watch it real quick and then come back.
All new episode Friday at 9, only on USA.
That was sick.
Was that not really cool?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so if you
and Monk ads, that's crazy.
If you didn't go watch it and come back, we'll spoil it for you. So it's a promo of a bunch of Sharona clips, old Sharona clips, and it's playing My Sharona, and it's flashing them. God. And then in words, it's like, Sharona is back. And it's really good. It's really cute. So if you didn't go watch it after you are done listening to us. It's really cute.
We need a Monk movie. I want a Monk movie. And it has everyone and Trudy. Whoa.
And Trudy. And Jan from The Office. Noah, will you go ahead and make this promise? If they ever reboot Monk, we're coming back.
We're coming back, 100%.
Okay,
Candace.
okay. I just wanted to make sure.
100%.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. We're not going to make any type of other promises other than that. I feel like.
Like, we'd be doing a disservice to this community.
Yeah.
If we didn't.
I'm like, oh yeah, we heard about it.
Yeah, that's so lame.
Yeah, forget you guys.
That would be horrible.
We'd be like, we're back, baby. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine
yeah.
if they did the little promo thing? What's it called? The Mr. Monk Shelters in Place. Like, if they did that after we ended our show, we would have been like, we got to get the gang back together.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it would have been. Yeah, we would have done it.
Exactly.
So, if they do something like that, we'll be back, babies.
I know. I cannot wait. I mean,
I
lately I feel like Hollywood's been popping enough to make anything into
yeah.
a reboot, and Monk is still alive. We can do it, guys.
And all the actors are really young.
All the actors are really young, and like they haven't changed much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Biddy Schramm, the promo. Okay, my next person is Jack Wagner, who played Peter Walsh. Honestly, I didn't recognize from anything, but he had an outstanding amount of credits for When Calls the Heart, I guess, is still on, so he's on that. But he's a soap actor, so he's on General Hospital, Melrose Place, and then Bold and the Beautiful is a soap opera. He has been on 1,333 episodes of the Bold and the Beautiful, which is a soap opera, which does come on like every day.
Still
So, but I was like, 1,000 episodes? I was like, I'm writing that.
they're like 1 minute long.
Yeah. No, I think because they come on Monday through Fridays, so that's why. But yeah, still, it's pretty like outstanding credit.
Yeah.
And then he was on an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch as himself, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And then my next person is Karen Strasman. I thought you might have her because I thought she had an outstanding number of credits, 572 credits as a voice actress.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was literally, the list was so long, I was like scrolling through, I was like, maybe Noah will recognize some of this, and I was like scrolling, and I was like, I'm tired of scrolling. This is way too many things.
What's her name?
Karen Strasman, Strass.
It's with a K, right?
Mm-hmm. You're on Karen, bro? Really? Strassman, Strassman. Strassman. What? I thought it might help you spell it. You're still on Karen, so.
Oh my god. We need to get the app already.
I know, right? Every time IMDb. You want to use the app? No, I don't want to be the person who has an IMDb app on my phone. That's super weird.
That is so
Why
weird.
does anybody need that? We need it. Every freaking day we're on IMDb. Who needs that?
Yeah, what the...
Worst invention ever.
Come on, what the heck?
Okay, while you look that up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I didn't recognize her from anything. Oh, sorry, Karen Strassman, she played the country club lawyer. So the lady that's like, we're prepared to offer you this, and slides it across the table, that's her. But she's a voice actress, so probably what she looks like doesn't really matter. And then I thought that I recognized Chandra West, who played Peter Walsh's wife. I could have swore I recognized her. She looks exactly like somebody, and she wasn't that person. And then I thought I recognized Sharona's lawyer, too. His name is Christopher Boyer. Nope, neither one of them. Didn't recognize him from anything, but I thought I did. And then I have a couple of, like, catch-up ones, which is Brad Garrett. I've been watching Everybody Loves Raymond. I think I've mentioned that. And, you know, Brad Garrett was the Honest Jake on Mr. Monk Buys a House. Mm-hmm. And so I watch him and Raymond every day now. And then he was on an episode of To Tell the Truth, which is, you know, my favorite game show that they play.
The best.
Yeah, and he was on that, and he was pretty funny. And then I was listening to The Office Ladies earlier, and I don't know if I had mentioned this before, but they talk about Monk so often. It's wild.
Really?
Yes. They talk about Monk, right? Because we talked... I know I've said this before, that Angela Kinsey was on Mr. Monk and the Naked Man. Mm-hmm. She had a friend, Scott Adsit, who was on an episode. I don't remember who he was now. It's been so long. I think he's a killer in one of the episodes. So she's talked about Monk and how her time on Monk, how she was with Tony Shalhoub, and, you know, they hung out for a minute or so or whatever. But they talk about him all the time, because there was an episode a few months back, I remember listening to it, and they literally had they were making connections, and they were like, this person, you know how we do with 24? And they're like, he was on an episode of 24.
Like,
he was on an episode of 24. That's what they were doing with Monk. So in one singular episode of The Office, they're like, this guy was on an episode of, guess what? Monk. And this guy, guess what? He was on an episode, also Monk. And she was on Monk. Like in one Office episode. So I was like, it was so crazy.
Wow.
And then I was listening to The Office Ladies today, because what I do is I binge. Some of you guys probably binge us too, which makes sense. Instead of like it coming out every week, I wait a few weeks and binge. And so I was listening to 2 episodes today. One was Job Fair, and then the next one was Goodbye Toby. And both of those episodes, they mentioned Monk. Again. Yeah.
Wow.
I like every single one. Toby walked in too when I was listening. And right whenever they were mentioning Monk, and they were like, he was on an episode of Monk. And he was like, what the heck? And I'm like, they talk about Monk all the time on the show. It's crazy.
What?
Yes, it is so crazy. So,
I love he's the guy because it makes me feel smarter. And today I was in this poster shop with my brother, and there was a Jason Alexander poster. It was from Seinfeld.
Oh yeah,
but it was a Jason Alexander poster, and I was like, oh my god, what is he doing? And me and the the store clerk,
the store owner, the store clerk, the cashier,
the owner, the cashier.
Okay,
we had a conversation for like
he went from
5 minutes.
Store owner to cashier. Go ahead.
We talked for like 5 minutes about Seinfeld. And I don't even like Seinfeld that much.
Seinfeld, yeah.
Seinfeld,
Seinfeld.
exactly.
I don't even like Seinfeld. That's hilarious.
This dumb TV show called Mank.
It's about Mr. Mank and Jason Alexander. Solve crimes together or something. I don't know. I haven't really watched it.
That's what he said. Anyways, I felt like an adult today. It was amazing.
that is cool. I was listening to, I think I've mentioned this before too, the Michael Scott podcast company. I listen to them because they do The Office, a really good podcast. And before they mentioned Tony Shalhoub, but the guy called him Tony Shalhoub. And then they did it the other day, and they were talking about like, who would you have loved to see on The Office? And the guy like messed up on purpose again. He was like, I was thinking Tony Shalhoub. And they were like, oh my gosh. And they were like, Tony shall do what? I'm like, he shall hoob. It was so stupid and funny. I was laughing out loud by myself. I'm just like, they don't know I host a podcast about Tony Shalhoub. It's so funny.
Shalhoub.
It's so funny. Okay, it's time to move on to
Junk time. Welcome back to my favorite difference in yours in the show, where we only have 6 junk times left.
Don't say
And
that.
I'm sad.
I'm gonna cry.
This is our 7th junk time.
Although
I'm gonna count down junk times.
Although I probably won't be able to come up with more paleo snacks that aren't like,
It's running out.
look at my cauliflower rice. So good.
What do you have today, Kandyce?
I have Brownie Thins salted caramel flavor.
Oh yeah.
These are, I read some of the reviews. They said they taste burnt. And I was like, oh, I could see that. I could see what they mean. But they're pretty good for, I mean, I can't eat cookies.
These Apple Jacks are pretty good. No.
Look, just a smidgen.
Oh, it's not bad.
No, not bad.
They're just like little chips.
We also ate a little teeny tiny chip of it. Okay. I had a bunch of random questions and then something really exciting. So let me start with my random questions. Because this was just stuff that I was like, wasn't necessarily a like or a dislike, but I thought we could discuss them. Because instead of choosing like one random question like about this episode, I wanted to get more into like Sharona and Natalie stuff. But so my first one is, did it stand out to you when the guy said Fujikawa Cellular?
Yes.
The first time he ever said it. He was like, Fujikawa Cellular.
Fujikawa Cellular.
Yeah. It was obvious, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about...
I also...
Okay, go ahead.
I also was like, that's weird. But maybe that was like 2009 lingo. I was like, maybe if people were just like, dang, my Motorola...
Flip phone.
My BlackBerry.
My Razor.
My... What is it? What is that one called?
My Bluetooth headset.
what is that one called? The one with the... Dang it. Nokia.
Oh.
Dang my Nokia. And like...
My singular wireless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as if... I don't know. Maybe the writers were trying to sound cool or something. And then it was like, oh, Fujikawa Cellular. Now they were just normal. Like, I don't know. There's a disconnect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
Okay. Okay. No, I like that. That was my question. Okay. What about Sharona's zinger about Natalie's rich parents?
That was a big ol' burn. That was big. It was like...
I didn't know whether, honestly...
Oh, so you're just in it for the money? Well, not everyone has loaded parents. It's like, I haven't taken a dime from that. Give them my number.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh, that's so true. She did say that. So what did you think? I mean,
it was crazy.
I didn't know whether to put it in likes and dislikes, so it was just something that I jotted down, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I loved it. It was beautiful.
You did? It was, and I'm like, because I don't want to be like, I loved that, and Noah be like, that's so mean to Natalie. But in our Natalie versus Sharona episode, you pointed that out. That's one of the things you did not like about Natalie, is like, she has rich parents, and she always has new cars and stuff, and so Sharona got her with that 1-2 punch. Like, give him my number. Oh, that was really good. I thought, okay, I did think it was, I liked it. Okay. I also thought, wait, so does this mean that she's looked up who Natalie is?
I didn't even think about that.
How did she know that? Because, like, admittedly, you would be thinking, well, who's taking care of Adrian? I'm really worried about him. But you'd look up, okay, she's Natalie Teeger. Also, the technology wouldn't have been great back then. How would you even look up Natalie Teeger? You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't be like a Google search.
Maybe while they were catching up or something. That's the only plausible thing I can think of. There's no way she Googled her.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. She didn't Google her, but then who would be telling Sharona anything? We know it's not Stottlemyre because he hasn't written or called in 5 years, right? So then it would have to be Randy.
Probably not.
Or Dr. Kroger. Or Monk.
Dr. Kroger. Dr. Kroger's good. Alright, sorry. I'm going to
okay, well, let's make this episode about Dr. Bell and Dr. Kroger. Okay. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I jotted that down. I was like, wait, how does she even know that? Because it's not even her last name.
I didn't even think about that. It's not even her last name.
Yeah. It's not like she's the daughter of the Davenports.
Yeah.
So no.
She's Teeger.
Yeah. Okay. How would you have handled the walking up the steps versus the elevator situation?
First off, I have a plot hole about that. Second off, it was stupid. Take the elevator. Natalie's an idiot. Unless, be like, alright, Monk, you take the stairs. I'll take the elevator. Says you want it so bad. That's what I would have done.
Wait, say that again?
Monk takes the stairs and Natalie goes in the elevator.
Okay, honestly, I never saw it in the perspective, not that way. I never saw in this perspective before where you were just saying like, yeah, no, Natalie's dumb. Like they should have just taken the elevator. Because if like, I understand where the headbutting came in because like, I'm his assistant, not his nurse. It's not my job to like push him past his limits. Yeah. However, if Sharona is there to like help you push him along,
what I was thinking.
Then just let her do it because it makes your life easier that you don't have to walk up 9 flights of stairs. Like who would choose that over riding the elevator? Like now granted she might be used to it after all these years of walking up the stairs, but you can't tell me that it wouldn't make your life easier if you just let Sharona make him take the elevator. I could be like, oh thank God.
Yeah.
Look, now we're both telling you, get on the elevator, go ahead.
Yeah.
I always just saw it as like conflicting thoughts, but like elevators are invented to make your life easier. It's not really an either or choice. Yeah. It's like you have to have stairs in case of a fire. Nobody takes the stairs. Unless you're just a glutton for punishment, people.
Frick you, gluttons for punishment.
So, yeah. Okay. I thought, hopefully this isn't spoiling your plot hole about this, but why wouldn't they just ride the elevator up and then walk back down after they're done?
I didn't think about that.
Why wouldn't they just walk, like, why would you walk up 18 flights to walk down so that it's even? What if you ride up the elevator, 9 floors and then, or 7 floors, whatever, and then ride down or walk down. It's even. It's an even amount of flights. And it's easier to walk down the stairs than
Yeah,
up.
no, because then you'd have to also, because you're elevating 18 flights of, levels, right? Whatnot.
Oh, exactly.
And then you go down 9, but then you still went
18 flights.
You still went 9 more. You still traveled 9 more. So then you'd have to walk down 9. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then so how
That
did
was
they
stupid.
And then so how did they leave?
They jumped out the window.
See, that makes sense. The voice of reason. This is why we should write the show. They jump out the window. That's perfect. I love it. I'm sold.
The murderer had already killed them inside, so they never did leave. And they knew that was going to happen. It was on their script. Come on, kids.
Exactly. Tony Shalhoub walks out window. Okay. Okay. I love, this is going good so far. We're getting a lot of good stuff. Okay. The next one thing is Natalie getting paid less. What did you think about that?
I don't know why Monk would do that. I don't understand. I guess, I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, did he technically do anything wrong? No. Unless he just legitimately said, I paid Sharona this much, so this is what I'm going to pay you. That would be a lie, right? Like, technically, like, well, what did you pay your last girl? This is what I paid her. Okay, I'll take that then. But, I mean, it's not like it's not within his right to pay his employee whatever he wants to. You don't have to pay them. You know what, too? I just thought of this. Oh, my God. I'm sure I've heard this somewhere, but it just clicked into my head. Sharona is also a registered nurse. So why wouldn't you expect to get paid more? Like, they're doing the same job. Obviously, they're doing the same job. But Sharona has the credentials for it. It's like hiring someone who has a doctorate or a master's or a bachelor for the same position. Like, I'm not saying, again, that there's not any reason that you shouldn't pay someone that has a bachelor. Like, hey, I'm doing the same job as him just because he's smarter than me or whatever. There's an argument for that as well. But there's also a reason that people go to school and spend that money to get those degrees to get paid more, not to get paid the same as someone who just does the same job as them. So, I think there's an argument to both sides.
No, yeah, you're right. She's a registered nurse. I'm trying to think of an analogy because nothing is except, I guess, assistant work. Where it's like, oh, I'm a nurse. I could save your life. Or like, oh, I'm a regular person and I just do things. And but like, you can't be a doctor and be like, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
Or like a fireman. I'm not a fireman. Or like a lawyer. And like, anyone can be a lawyer. You can represent yourself. But you can't like, I don't know, do surgery on yourself. That's illegal. You can get arrested.
Yeah, I can't.
No, we're just talking about this stupid analogy.
I know.
I'm sorry, that's my fault.
Okay, that's okay. I had one, but it's not. It doesn't relate the same way, so it doesn't even matter. Okay, my next question and my last question about this episode specifically is: did you like the title of the episode?
Mr. Monk and the Rona, as I like to call
Monk
it.
and the Rona.
That's what I wrote down.
That's so
Mr. Monk and the Rona.
That is messed up. So you didn't like it then?
I don't know. It was kind of spoilery. I saw it the other day, or like last week, after we finished the episode.
Yeah.
I was like, Mr. Monk and the Sharona, not in the Sharona. Mr. Monk and Sharona, let's go. And I was happy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It was kind of Bad Girlfriend. But not really, even. Because she's like, first 10 seconds.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
like-
So yeah, so it's like it didn't matter because it didn't even like show the title of the episode before she pops up. I just think there's a book. I'm not being original at all with this. There's a Monk book called Mr. Monk and the Two Assistants.
Oh, wow.
But that's what this episode should have been called, in my opinion. Now, as Team Sharona, I'm ecstatic that Sharona has her name in the episode. That's pretty cool because if you think about it, the captain's marriage, the captain's wife. Randy doesn't have any.
Randy doesn't have any. Natalie doesn't have any. Bell, Dr. Bell, he doesn't have any.
No, not other than like gets a shrink or whatever.
Like
but yeah, no.
Or group therapy.
No, yeah. Group therapy, no.
Kroger, no.
No, there's other like redheaded stranger, genius, rapper, like
Yeah.
about the criminals, but not any of the main characters. But yeah.
Mr. Monk and Linda Fusco.
Mr. Monk and the murderous girlfriend Linda Fusco, real estate agent, license number 753.
So, how she did it was...
Here's what happened. Mr. Monk and here's what happened. Oh my gosh. Exactly. Okay, let's get to our exciting thing. So we reached out to some people and we asked we asked for voicemails and someone called in with a voicemail. So this is from
Hi, Kandyce and Noah. This is Tom from Massachusetts. I'm calling to let you know that Mr. Monk and Sharona is my favorite episode of the final season. It is everything that you would want from a Monk episode. The case is solid. The humor is solid. But I just think that it was a great way to get closure for both Monk and the audience regarding Sharona's sudden departure. I think it shows how important both Natalie and Sharona are to Monk at different times in his lifetime. I must admit that I teared up a little when Monk let Sharona hug him at the end and he returned it. Great episode. Great podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Hey.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for sending that voicemail. That was amazing.
It was very good.
Voicemails are our favorite, so thank you, Tom, so much. Tom from Massachusetts. Thank you.
Tom.
See, guys,
Voicemails are my favorite, so now you are my favorite. Well, you're one of my favorites.
And it's almost Noah's birthday. So
It's
it was like
almost
a
my
birthday present.
I'm so close. By the time this goes up, it's a week after my birthday. But
Yeah.
it's almost my birthday.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, Tom said a lot of great things in that voicemail, honestly. That it was a good closure, right? That we said already, for Monk himself and for us as the audience. I'm not even sure I said for Monk.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. The humor was solid. It's also, he said it's his favorite episode in this final season, so that's cool. He also teared up at the end with Sharona giving him the hug and him hugging her back, which I didn't even mention that he hugged her back.
Oh, yeah.
She totally did. So that was a great voicemail. I loved that. I quite enjoyed
Very
that.
nice. Very nice.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question because I have it written on my paper and I don't know if we'll ever have a chance to ever talk about this again, but so I'm going to say it. One thing that was missing from this episode was, of course, Julie wasn't here, but also Benji did not return.
That.
So what would we envision a Benji and Julie meeting be?
They fall madly in love.
Would that be better than Sharona and Natalie getting together? I mean, so what?
Just pause. What?
I don't know. Maybe. That's also an interesting take on things, Kandyce. Thank you for mentioning that. Would that be better than Sharona and Randy getting together? Well, now you can't unhear what I said.
I really can't. Okay. I mean,
Just forget that part. Just forget the part where I said this whole question. It's just,
it really would.
just from someone who disliked it, not for me, because I liked. What is it, Shandy? I like Shandy.
Shandy.
With Sharona and Natalie. Shadow. It was worth the mistake. It was so worth the mistake.
Oh my god.
Oh my. Oh.
Shadowy.
Oh my god. Oh god.
No Rona.
What was the question? No Rona. Oh my gosh, we need
No Rona.
No. Oh, I guess it's
COVID safe.
I guess it's no Rona, but close enough.
No Ronavirus.
No Rona. No. Yeah.
Anyways, I think I think Julie and Benji would be very great compared to Sharona and Randy, not Natalie. I can't get it out of my head!
Guys, it's because we always say Sharona and Natalie. Sharona versus Natalie, Sharona and Natalie. It's weird to say Sharona and Randy. That doesn't, flow. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It's either Sharona and Natalie or Natalie and Randy.
Or Natalie and Monk.
Oh, yeah. Natalie's always in it, and it's amazing. And this is why Natalie's the best assistant. Anyways. Anyways, Sharona just, I don't know. Her and Randy don't click. And we've seen them not click, but
We haven't seen Julie and Benji
Julie
not
and
click.
Benji, they've never spoken to each other before. And I thought it'd be very cute now that they're all apparently like 30.
Yeah, I know, right? What if, like, okay, so maybe, like, the scene where they're, like, looking for Monk or something, they're like, okay, Benji, you go see if he's at Natalie's house. And then he's like, okay, I'll go see if he went to Natalie's. And then he, like, knocks on the door, and Julie's like, hello? And he's like, oh, hey, I'm looking for Mr. Monk. You know, it'd be Mr. Monk, because he called him Mr. Monk, too. I'm looking for Mr. Monk. And then she'd be like, oh, no, Mr. Monk's not here. Who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm Benji. Well, Sharona, her ex-assistant. Oh, you know. You're like, really? No way. And then, like, they bond over something that, like, Monk does that's silly. And they're like, oh, I used to love, like, you know, making him do puzzles. That's so cool. And you're like, oh, did you ever make him do blah, blah, blah? And then they're like, oh, yeah, that's funny. And then, like, they bond. This is some good stuff, guys.
That would be better. That would be way better.
This is some good material.
I know. I mean,
that was a good scene. Did I paint it in your head?
No, yeah, for reals. Like,
I liked that. I was getting vibes. I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh, that's cool. And I don't know how, like, where it goes from there, but, like, because we don't know what, we kind of know what happens to Julie, but we don't know what happens to Benji. Like, I mean, Sharona obviously said he's looking at colleges now, so assuming he's the exact same age as Julie. Because they're both graduating. Seniors or whatever, so. And it's an interesting thought.
Natalie could have drove them to the airport at the end and kissed Benji. And, like, my God.
And that would have been, I still like the Shandy, but I hate
Shandy.
It honestly could have possibly been more authentic than, like, oh, these two adults, like, rekindled this love, like, these two new kids.
These two new kid lovers who share common interests. Or maybe like, boom, oh, is Mr. Monk here? No, I don't think so, but come on in. Who are you? Why are you looking for him or whatever?
Yeah, and it's like, oh gosh, I'm so tired of looking for him already. And she's like, okay, sure, come in or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, they're talking and they're bonding and whatnot. And then Monk comes in and he does something crazy or whatever. And then they laugh. And then boom. And then, like, Sharona and Natalie are running after him or something. I don't know. Like,
yeah. I think it's possible.
This show is so easy to write. How did you screw it up? Shandy is a scamdy. Say it with me. Shandy is a scamdy. Shandy is a scam. All the people at home are saying it. Okay, Kandyce?
Nobody's saying
Trust
that.
me. Everyone's saying it.
It's not a thing.
Everyone hates Shandy.
Stop trying to make that happen. It's not gonna happen. Well, I think it's possible. I thought that was this is going so insanely long, but it's fun and this is a good one. So, but we do need to move on to plot holes. That sounded depressing.
I was like, plot holes. Very cheery.
Better. It's getting late. Okay. I have a few plot holes. Do you have any plot holes? Please say you have some.
I have one.
I literally hate you.
How many do you have? Oh my God, do you have like 6?
Well, I always have at least 6.
How many do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'll go fast. I
Here
swear.
I was about to compliment this episode for being very smart.
Okay, wait, hang on. There's a lot of callbacks. Hang on. Okay. The first one's a plot hole, though. No, this is a really small one. A coin gets stuck in the vacuum at the beginning of the episode. For one, Monk vacuums like 5 times a day. Where does he dropping this coin? And, like, how has he not seen this coin on the ground before? How does, you know what I mean? Like, how does Monk ever even vacuum up anything that's bigger than dirt? Because everything is so orderly and neat. How would a quarter ever even get onto the ground?
You're right.
Right?
Yeah,
Isn't
that's an easy one. Nice.
Okay. Also, he would never have a bag that's that full of dirt.
Yeah.
Because his house doesn't get that dirty. And he would assumedly clean the bag, like dump the bag out every single time.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. He would, this again, I know he was under a lot of stress, but how would he not know that wasn't Natalie? It's literally Sharona's voice.
I feel like it was an OCD thing, and it was just so like, it could have been like, yo, what's up, bro? It's like, Natalie.
Yeah.
I thought that would be pretty funny.
It's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
It's Murder Russ. And he's like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, Natalie, my eyes. And he's like, who's Natalie? You know, Natalie Code Red. That's my Snoop Dogg impression. Okay. In case you didn't know.
Natalie.
No, I said it like Snoop.
No, you did
Who's
not.
Natalie? Snoop doesn't have a deep voice.
Snoop doesn't have a deep voice in the Monk episode he's in. He's a pretty deep voice naturally.
Snoop B-O-double-G. It's kind of like, it has a little, like a...
Is Snoop Dogg under your
nasal.
seat? That's where the surprise is.
From that perspective. Like, a little bit of nasal with a little bit of voice. I'm totally butchering this. Okay, move on. Okay, the first callback is to my Halloween costume.
Sharona.
Now that you've seen the episode, do you remember what my Halloween costume looked like?
Nope. I'll look up a picture.
Instagram. Go look it up at junkmonkpodcast on Instagram.
Insta.
And I believe I put it as a post. So it should be on it should be on our actual feed.
That's from this episode?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah. That's when she walks in, when she's wearing that leopard top. That's pretty good, right?
That is really good.
I nailed that.
Aww.
The hair, the shirt, the purse, the leather skirt.
You really did.
I had a bracelet and I didn't wear it. I forgot.
Dang,
I had a necklace, a Sharona necklace, and everything. So it's pretty good. So call back to my Halloween costume. Okay. All right. This is an interesting one. This is a pretty big one. Okay. $950 a week. Are you following me?
Yes. $950 a week.
Noah just watched this episode.
Just watched this episode.
Stop repeating me. Mr. Monk versus the Cobra, where
no frickin' way.
he pays her. So assumedly, right, we know now he's paying her $930 a week. Natalie.
Yes.
So whenever at the end Trudy comes to him in this vision and says, "Sell my office. It's just 4 walls. Pay her what she needs." So assuming that he does sell Trudy's office to pay her what she needs, that means that he's paying for her expenses, which was his defense for Natalie, and said, Sharona, I never paid for Sharona's expenses. Mm-hmm. That's what he said. I never paid for Sharona's expenses, so I am not paying for your expenses. So now Natalie supposedly gets $20 less per week, but if Monk is reimbursing her for expenses, then she's actually getting paid more than Sharona. Right? Would that not be true? Did you follow that? Okay.
Yes. That made 100% sense.
Okay.
But it's yeah, but like,
because in that episode they establish I sold Trudy's office, so now I'm going to pay Natalie what she needs. That's why he sold the office, so he'd have more money to pay her for her expenses.
Yeah, because that's the episode where it's like, I spent $500 like driving.
Yeah, I'm going over like my minutes, $200 or 200 wipes a day or a week, or 200 wipes a week or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Recall thing from Mr. Monk Meets the Playboy. Remember that episode where Sharona is playing golf?
Yes.
Do you actually remember that, or are you just saying yes?
Yes. No, I do remember that. She's in her short skirt.
Yeah, okay.
She's in a short skirt every day.
Dang it, I fell for it. She's wearing pink.
Curly hair.
She's wearing pink, and Monk is her caddy, and she throws the clubs into the woods because she's like, give me the 5, and he's like, he can't not give her the 1, and she's like, okay, give me the 1, now give me the 2, and now give me the 3, give me the 4, and then she's like, now give me the 5. And so he gives the 5, and then she throws all the other clubs in the woods. So the callback was that Sharona plays golf. Like, she's actually plays golf, right? Mm-hmm. And because that's how they get invited. Because Monk doesn't play golf, but they want to investigate. So Sharona goes to play. And in this episode, she actually says she knows who Peter Walsh is. Like, oh, you're a golfer. I saw you lost in that thing. So it wasn't like a forced thing. They had already established that
cool.
Sharona plays golf. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that was a really good callback.
That is sick.
And then this is actually a plot hole, right? But we mentioned the whole case that Sharona kind of made up, where she's like, the ski resorts and the twins thing. So that means that there's another There's more than
There's more
100
than the
cases.
100 cases, yes.
That they see.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that one that
Easy
they
one?
made up, though. The 100. It was like she was like, oh, because he was wrong because it was his twin. And Randy's like, no, he was pretending to be his twin.
So he's actually right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, some more vibes. Okay. Circus vibes. Mr. Monk meets the circus. Mr. Monk goes to the circus. Mr. Monk goes to the circus. Sharona tells him to shake it off, which sounds a whole lot like suck it up. But, and this is, honestly, if I'm being honest, this is a dislike. The clue that seals the murderer is the battery that's inside the cell phone.
Yes.
Mr. Monk in the circus, the clue that seals the killer, the lady, the trapeze artist, is the battery that she leaves inside the walkie-talkie that she puts behind the elephant's ear. Remember, she tells the elephant, Nunga, or whatever, and he crushes the guy's head.
Oh, yeah.
And so she used a walkie-talkie that she taped behind the elephant's ear, and Monk is like, go look behind the ear. They find the walkie-talkie, and she's like, there's no proof that's mine. And he's like, yeah, well, I bet you wiped it clean, but I bet you didn't wipe off the batteries you put inside the walkie-talkie. And that's how it seals her fate.
Dang.
But it's the exact same.
Yeah.
Just like the pin clue that we just talked about, Happy Birthday, Mr. Monk, the chewed on pin. But this is even worse because it's more integral to the crime.
Dang.
Yeah.
Holy crepes.
And then I have one
Good
more.
catch.
I have one. Did you already say yours?
I did not.
Okay.
Do you want me to go?
I don't think you'll get this one. This
I got it.
it's a plot hole and it's from another episode.
I did not get it.
Okay. So, see, 2 episodes ago, Mr. Monk goes to group therapy. What are Monk and Harold cured from?
Beep boop bop boop. Claustrophobia.
Okay, why is Monk scared to be in the closet? And tell a summation.
Claustrophobia.
Right? Is that not what that is?
Oh, no.
Is that not claustrophobia?
He's afraid because the guy's going to hear them. And
Yeah, but he's like,
let's start this off. And
yeah, but he's also like, oh, closet. And she's like, it's fine. He's like, can you everyone just back up a little bit? And she's like, that's a closet. I'm pretty sure that happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think so.
Maybe that's Mr. Monk gets married. So what's your plot hole?
My plot hole is... Now, this is going to be confusing. Stay with me. Okay. Natalie and Monk always take the stairs. And in this one, they walk down 9. And they actually show them out of breath. Mm-hmm. But, like, how come we don't see them out of breath more often? You know? Like, he apparently always takes the stairs with Natalie, so Natalie would rather apparently die than go in the elevator with Monk. I don't know. So, they've been to, like, bajillions of apartments. Never once... Can't believe you make us walk up the stairs. What are the chances that every apartment's on the first floor?
Exactly. That's a good one.
Boom. Thank you.
I thought of that in the sense that I thought of like, wow, they must always go to first floor apartments, but not in the sense of like, we never see them out of breath.
Yeah.
They never imply that, oh, we just took the stairs or anything. Like, so that makes it plot holy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is that it?
That is it.
How crazy was Monk this episode? Plus crazy moments. I'm tired.
Okay, out of 10 what?
Out of 10 Fujikawa cellular batteries.
Okay, nice. I thought about that one. I have a couple. Out of 10 loose steps. Okay. Out of 10 dry cleaning tickets.
Okay.
And out of 10 Natalie Foghorn recordings.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
Okay. Crazy moments. I don't actually have a lot, so feel free to interject if I miss something, because I usually go in order. So the first one is Code Red. Okay. The next one is he can't let go of the dry cleaning ticket. Like, he can't let it go. I guess you could add the nursing thing that he'd understand. The 17-year-old. He changed the light bulbs.
Yeah,
in his
and
house.
He didn't like it, and he changed it back.
She's like, "Oh my gosh, Adrian, no, that's huge. I'm so proud of you."
He's like, "I changed it back."
I changed it back. Oh, his way that he has his lunch every single day. Turkey club, lightly toasted, hold the
yes.
lettuce, hold the bacon, hold the mayo, 5 slices of turkey cut 4 ways on a square plate.
And they both say it at the same time.
Can you
Forgot
imagine
about
learning that dialogue?
Oh my
Turkey
god.
club, lightly toasted, hold the lettuce, hold the mayo, hold the bacon, 5 slices of turkey cut 4 ways on a square plate.
I wonder how many takes that must have taken.
Oh, they're pros. I bet it took 1.
No.
I bet it took 1.
What? That is the biggest lie I've heard in my entire
If we
life.
ever talk to either of them, that's the first question I'm asking.
How many takes
They're going to be like, I don't know.
did the hold the bacon, hold the mayo, hold...
Oh. I'm sorry, we're done with this interview because that took you 45 minutes to say. Okay, he has this fake cough.
Yes.
He has the fast summation, which because he's trapped in the closet. And then the last one is that he can't sleep without his Trudy pillow, his toothbrush, his flossing kit, or his sound machine with the foghorn. So how crazy was this episode?
I'm gonna go with, out of 10, Fujikawa cell batteries? It's a battery, right?
Yeah.
It's a battery. It's on the cell phone itself. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cell batteries. I don't know. I think he's pretty crazy because he had 2 assistants and he still was not like, I don't know.
Well, so does that probably makes him less crazy though? If he would.
No, he had 2 assistants and still was crazy.
Oh,
It's like double the crazy.
Oh, that's a good point. He had 2 assistants and he is still crazy. That's funny.
So it's like,
I like that perspective. That's
7?
funny.
And also him and Sharona with the whole like, oh, my ticket thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was, yeah. It was very, very crazy.
Okay, so what's your number?
7.
Okay.
Fujikawa cell batteries.
Okay, I put 3 out of
Whoa!
out of 10 Natalie Foghorn recordings. I put 3 because he was under a lot of stress from having the 2 assistants.
That makes sense.
And I did put, though, the ticket thing was the craziest. Is what I put. That's
Yeah.
what I think. I think he deserved. He could have used like maybe a 4,
Yeah.
3, like probably 4, but yeah. So
Rate this episode.
okay, Noah. So do you want me to go to what?
You can go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sad. This is the last segment.
Why?
I don't know, because I've been waiting for this episode for so long. For Sharona's return? And then we have to stop talking about it? It's sad. Okay. This episode, whether you think it's perfect or not, you cannot deny the amount of closure that it brings. Not only does it say what we're all thinking, it showed us what we all needed. And that is Sharona's goodbye. I cannot get enough of this episode. 2 assistants equals 2 10s from me.
Aww. Wait a minute, you rated it a 10?
I did. And that was very anticlimactic, but
Well, now
I'm somber.
I'm putting all my cards out on the table. I rated it a 9, but now I feel bad because you're all closure and this and that and 2 assistants, 2 10s. I don't know. I felt inspired. Would it be illegal to bump up my ratings?
I mean, this is the time to do that. It's not like on next episode.
Okay.
Like, okay, so honestly, like, because I feel like, okay, say right now, if you rated that a 9, it'd get a 9.5, which means it would be under, at least one I can think of is Mr. Monk is Someone Else. I feel like we both rated that one pretty dang high. Like, you gave it like a 9.75 and I gave it
That's
a 9.85 or something.
That's not good. I don't remember that episode at all.
Yeah, it's the one we watched with Emma where he's Frankie De Palma.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
That's a good episode. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's not a good episode, but like I said, I knew this one was coming, and I was hoping that it would live up to my expectations again and give it a 10, and it really did. The nostalgia, the tears, that feeling that I got back, from Sharona, and I think they summed her up really well. It gave us all a bunch of closure, like Tom said on his beautiful voicemail, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this has to be, and obviously I'm not the only one too, right? Because Tom said he's including the final episode, that this is his favorite episode of the season. So it's not like I'm just going, oh, Sharona, oh, I love her. I think it's a good episode. I also really like the crime. I feel like not everybody's going to love the crime as much as I did. But again, your A storyline is definitely Sharona in this. And I think they did it beautifully. They didn't just, like, they could have literally just had Sharona, like, pop on. Mm-hmm. And then made this big hype, Sharona's back, and shown her in a couple of scenes. They put her through the whole thing. And then they just gave us every single Sharona, Natalie, like, moment that we needed.
Wanted, even, like, oh my god, they're talking about Monk, and oh my god, his lunch, and oh my god, his wipes, and
oh my god, well, we got paid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like, this is how I treat him. You treat him this way. I call him this name. You call him that way. You're pandering to him. You're doing too hard. Like, all those things. And then also, we got to see her and Monk's reunion, her and Monk's goodbye, her and Randy's reunion, and Stottlemyre, her and Randy's goodbye. Or, closure, or,
Yeah.
the summing up of their relationship. I don't know. It's comparative to, again, like, if you're talking content, maybe not, like, as far as a crime goes, but it's not like we have, like, had these outstanding crimes so far either. That's been, like, that's what, Mr. Monk is someone else is the one that came to mind, but even then, you just can't beat that nostalgia factor that this episode had, so. I don't know. Honestly, if I'm being honest, if this would be an episode, if I could rate it higher than a 10, I probably would.
Wow.
Yeah. You're never gonna have an episode with Natalie and Sharona. I'm giving it a 10 for sure. What are you gonna do?
I am going to give it a 10, but not because I think it should be higher than a 10 or like, I don't know. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. But it's also like one of the best we've had this season. And it deserves to be higher than Mr. Monk is someone else. So, if we were doing, like, out of 20, this would probably be like a 19. Or maybe like an 18. Mr. Monk is someone else would probably be like a 17. But that's just
right, because the scale is, like, almost too small to where, like, it's not that much of a difference. Like, you'd have to rate this one like if you didn't think it was perfect, you'd be like 9.95 or something. I think I did that with one episode before. Like, Mr. Monk Goes to the Bank or something. I was like, this is a really good episode, but for me, it's not. It's almost more of a perfect Monk episode than it is personally for me being one of my favorites. Whereas this one, I could see how there's certain aspects that people don't like, but the nostalgia and the Sharona factor is just so high. There's not another episode that's comparable to this. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then also, too, it's like, again, I've seen the rest of the episodes. I don't remember, exactly. You've seen about half the episodes. So you're going like, well, I don't know. Does it get better than this? I don't want to give it a 10. But
yeah.
But again, this is it. So if we're going to hand out 10s, then, you know what I mean? It does. I don't know, like, push you into scoring it a 10.
I give it a 10 anyways. 10. Done deal.
This is what I think. You might not be feeling the 10 vibes now, but I think looking back, once we're at the end, you're going to be like, yeah, compared to all the rest of the episodes in season 8, this deserves to be here. And I feel like you're kind of seeing that. I feel like you're kind of foreseeing that now by giving it a 10. So, but I think that's how you'll eventually feel.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
All right, guys. So that's it. This one got a perfect score. Hopefully that wasn't anticlimactic. We're like, it's a 10. Well, it was 2 10. Well, it was a 10. Okay, guys. I guess it's a 10. All right. See ya. I honestly, truly think it deserves a 10. I think Noah will eventually see that after he's seen all the episodes. It's just, you've said that before too. Like, it's not fair. You've seen all the episodes, so you know what to compare it to. Yeah. Like, if it's a bad episode, like, I can't see that.
Yeah.
like comparatively. I just thought, oh, I enjoyed watching it. It was a good one. And I'm like, no, it was terrible. Trust me, it was terrible.
Compared to the next one,
yeah,
it was trash.
Exactly. So I get what you're saying. Well, that's it. Did I already tell you guys that I did my dance classes? I'm like,
I don't think you did.
I'm like finished with them, pretty much. I did 3 in-person classes and I have 2 like virtual ones that I'm not like super excited about, but the in-person ones were really cool. So today I had my last dance lesson, and Noah's kind of heard this already because we were practicing.
She took dance lessons, and then I bootlegged off of her.
Yeah,
and also learned dance lessons.
Yeah,
and now I am Derek Huff.
Yeah, you are Derek Huff. That's crazy. Which ones did I teach you?
The tango and the salsa, and I think that's it.
I think that's it, right?
Yes.
Because we learned the salsa and the foxtrot first. Mm-hmm. And then today was our last lesson, and so she kind of sprinkled in. She was like, oh, you have like the basics down for that, so let me throw in some cha-cha, because cha-cha is just like a smidge harder than the salsa, so she kind of threw that in. So it just adds like another step. Because you do cha-cha-cha instead of just like salsa.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And then foxtrot is like a big ballroom dance, and it's like a smooth dance where you like glide across the floor. And so tango is very similar to that. So she was like, oh, well, you kind of know those steps. So watch this. This is basically the same thing. And so I was like, dang, that's true. So getting the tango was like super easy now that I know the foxtrot. But it's been really fun. And Toby's been a really good sport, leading me and me trying to follow and me tackling him for a couple of times. And we do fight because it's Toby. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, imagine if your dance partner was Toby. It would be like, oh God, really, this guy?
Die.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, he's doing pretty good. Yeah. I'm keeping him in line. But yeah, I guess that's it. That's my dancing update. Hopefully you guys liked the Happy Birthday Mr. Monk episode.
It was so much fun to make.
It was so fun.
And getting to meet you guys.
Yeah.
I loved you guys. And you guys love me, and I loved you guys, and we were all big one loving happy family.
Did you see the message or the story I tagged you in from Lindsay? Where I guess her mom had taken a picture of her.
Oh yeah.
At Disney World.
Yes.
And was showing. I was like, oh, that's so cute, because she was so excited that, can you imagine? It's like, Mom, get me like on camera, like, you know what I mean? Like, take a picture of me recording. Like, I would done the same thing. I literally wanted somebody like taking a picture of us while we were on with Jason. I'm like, what if this recording deletes? Someone get a picture of this. It happened. But yeah, so I thought that was really cool. And then she said something like, now my parents need to take me to Texas or something. And I was like, yes.
I know.
That would be so freaking cool.
We will happily embrace you into our loving homes.
Family.
Yeah. You'll be part of the Hernandezes from now on. Lindsay Sloan. Lindsay L.
This isn't making any sense now. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I know it was a really long episode and it was in 2 parts, but guys, it was worth it. This one's probably long too. I'm finding it a lot harder to cut things out because we're so close to the end.
Yeah. I'm
like, guys, soak up all the content.
I know.
Soak it all in. Don't be like, oh God, look how long this episode is. Be like, yes, it's so long. I love it. You don't have to listen to it all at one time. I do that. I pause. I do something, and then I come back to it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember them talking about this.
Good
job
was great. Telling them at the end of the 3-hour episode. God.
Oh, gosh. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Junk Monk Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so please give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, follow us at Junk Monk Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
If you want to know more about Kandyce, she's at Hardens and Hardhats on Instagram. And if you want to know more about me, Noah L., subscribe to my vlog, Noah Hernandez, on YouTube. Also, you can leave us a voicemail at 323-366-0477 with your questions, comments, or just to show us some love.
Don't forget to catch up on Monk with Amazon Prime Video, and of course, subscribe to our show.
You'll thank me later.